having a conversation. And we're here today, this year, having another conversation. So much has happened since last year. We talk, but so much has happened. All of you know that. In fact, today was epic, right? I don't want to say what happened today. You know what happened today. But the last 2 weeks have been life changing in the Liberian community. But let me start with this to say to all of us. I'm not a psych. Steve is a psych. So he understands behavior science, how people think, how people feel, how people make decisions. So I think he's the best person to talk to us today after a whole long week of conversation. People may call it drama, people may call it a fight. I would say a conversation, a process of mature democracy, so to speak. Because in this mature society where democracy is practiced, right, this conversation take place. But when you do not understand it, then it becomes scary, especially for those who feel their lives are in danger, the future is in danger, the children are not protected. But for us to get to that place where we ask for more, that place where we ask for, where we have expectation of our leaders, until we get to that place, this is the process that we need to go through. So I just want to welcome Steve. Steve, welcome again to Georgia, to your old man house. I know I am what 30 plus pound bigger than I was when you last saw me. I don't mind talking. I know most women don't talk about their weight, but I talk about mine freely, right? So, welcome, Steve.
Thank you. It's
Okay.
always good to be. It's always good to be in Atlanta, um,
Okay.
because a lot of things happen here. Um,
Mm,
as a matter of fact, um, this is a historic state, especially for Black people.
yep.
Um, a lot of things happen here, and again, I'll say this is a good place to be. Why we, like you said earlier, we're here last year
Mm-hmm.
about this same time,
Mm-hmm.
just right here. And today we are here to pick up from the conversation that we started last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we'll take a moment to share the show because we have not shared it and we don't
Yep.
want to be mean to other people.
Yeah, we want to share.
Yeah, so
What is it in elementary school and middle school? But then when we get to high school, we teach, I would say, sharing is caring.
yeah,
But there's certain things you can't share, though. Little girls, little boys, listen, sharing is caring. But yes, let's take a time to share the video. Yes,
okay.
please do. Help us share it. And then we'll have the conversation. Maybe we'll help you kind of ease your your mind a little bit, especially those of you in Liberia, those of us in the diaspora who are afraid for our family back home, especially with all of the news that have been heard. And maybe we can help you walk through the process, how other nations got to where they got to, how nations are built, how nations are able to mature. And the American people say mature, we say mature in Liberia. How they grew up and then they become more forceful of their leaders, how they start asking the why question, the who, the when, the why, those questions, because those are questions that we need to pay attention to. Those are questions that we need to ask. Those are questions that need to play a major role, the 5W, right? So, Steve, I think we share enough, and the rest of the people can share it. Talk
We
to me.
share.
Okay, then share.
I think
Then
I shared
share.
with one or two people. Let me
Okay,
share
why are you sharing? And I will be
to
talking.
one
You
or two
know,
more friends
I love to
before I
talk.
get in trouble. People say, "Oh, yeah." Well, let's see if we can share
I
this.
got my face beat yesterday. I had a
You
wedding.
did.
I did. I had my
Oh
face
my
beat. Look at my
goodness.
face beat. I had
Wow,
my
that's
face
cool.
beat. When they say face beat, we're not talking about beating you. We're not talking violent. We're talking about having a makeup over makeup. It's a term that women use. When you get yourself all pretty or literally looking like they just took you out of the glass chamber per se, right? So it's not about trauma and abuse. No, it's actually be this abuse. Face big is I don't know who brought it, but it's term, but it's a make a term. Today we listened to Yeke Koluba. All we heard a lot of stuff going on. But what I like to do though, more I like to go back to June. And I like to talk about the ethic because right now, most Liberians feel that their life is hanging in the balance, right? And their future depend on the CPP, correct? And because of that, everyone is on an edge when the figure CPP is not going the right direction, or there's some sort of strong conversation going on, debate going on. Who should do this? Who should do what? Who is doing what? But let's go. I like to go back to June. Something happened in June. One of the leaders came up in June and said, "We're going to be having a convention. My political party will be having a convention." Now, remember in a CPP document, there is a clause that said that if the party can go to a convention, only there that the leaders can decide if they should withdraw from the organization. We also have an agent provocateur who, whenever these things, in fact, let me jump in front a little bit. I'm a little bit taken aback, right? I sit in the chat room and we are in separate chat room, especially when you have leadership chat room, right? That you feel that not only do you feel, you think that your conversation here there is private, it's for nation building purposes. But if I was in a chat room with leaders and my conversation become a public conversation, I will have trust issues with the people. Because for me, I'm a leader among my peers, and I have other leaders that I work with. No matter how I disagree with you, I don't have the right to pass on the process of the nation building or conversation that is being held as leaders to negotiate or to ponder over or to debate, however you say, to be passed on to every time. So let's go back to that. What's your thought? What is working there? But let's keep in mind the people and build them up instead of taking them down and build the hope. Because I think I said this and I will say this and I always say this. They said hopelessness is the enemy of justice. Liberians are looking for hope to build them up, to muster this next a year and a half or 2 years. And we don't want to take that hope away. What's your thought?
So the first thing I like to start off by saying, as usual,
I
is
love that
is
part too.
is
Yes.
to recognize the Liberian people. I think these are important conversations where we can leave our busy schedules, leave other things, and talk about Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, we are miles and miles away from Liberia, but we still think about Liberia. Most of the time, our focus, our conversations are there about Liberia for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we don't even engage into the activities or the politics of this country.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you that we love Liberia, we care about Liberia.
Correct.
Put aside other personal interests that other people might have, but that's just a fact. So Liberia, Liberian people are the most important people on earth. It's just a fact. But another thing is, I'd also always like to recognize the Liberian women as the most beautiful women on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, so in that context, now that we've established the basis of this conversation, I know you wanted to go back to June, but I want to go back to where we stopped.
Hold on 1 second. Oh, this is John. John, what's up? I'm okay. You want to make an import? Oh, okay. Can I call you back when he's done? Then I was like, okay, great. This Johnny wanted to call you to the program. Yeah, we'd love to have call you. It's an open mic. So let's go where we start. I still have that. In fact, I just shared the video this morning.
Right.
Maybe I will play it later here. We just anchor it later here. Yes.
So we need to go back to last year,
Yes.
where we started
Uh-huh.
and where we are today, because it's important for us to lay a foundation. But before we go back to last year, I want to say something about the different chat rooms and groups that people are in.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just be very honest. When you open these public things or these public forums, there's no guarantee that anything is safe in it, especially with the people we deal with. Some of us inherently, over time, with experiences in life and culture and the way we are bred, to be honest, we're not trustworthy people. We don't do what is right. We act in front of people, you know, But when people are not there, we do a total different thing. So let's say, for example, if I'm in a chat room, most of the time nobody's monitoring my phone to see who's screenshotting or who doing what.
Mm-hmm.
So people are not responsible. People are not mature. So you have the combination of immature, irresponsible people plus dubious people who are in the chat room. What do you expect?
What's the difference though?
So
Immature,
so
responsible, irresponsible, dubious people.
so
I've seen that word flying all over Facebook and emails. Yeah.
the difference is for the dubious people. These I, I'll try to be a little. Let me use the word civil today. I'll try to put it in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Dubious people are people who cannot be trusted. In other words, they're crooked. They they either fool around and play games or they do other funny things.
Mm-hmm.
That make them think they're smart,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not. They 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 wrongly use the right opportunity to do the wrong thing. So immature people are people who you know they're not responsible, but they think that when you dress fine or you put on makeup or you cut your hair nicely or you wear a
Well, I
new
got on
brand,
makeup.
I'm, that does not necessarily mean you're part of it. But what I
Okay,
intend to say
that's
is,
okay. I get it.
what I
Yeah.
intend to say is, they think that dressing or having money or having makes them responsible. In other words, they don't prioritize their priority, or they can't really be placed in a place without people monitoring them.
Monitoring them.
They,
They're not self-started. They
yeah,
don't have self-constraint.
exactly. They're not
Yeah,
structured.
yeah,
They're
structure.
not
Yeah,
organized.
yeah. That's they're
So
not structured or organized. Yeah,
exactly.
that's the
So
correct word. Yeah.
and all of these things is stem from how they're brought up, the culture, the society, and where they're raised. Mind you, most of us we're ward breed children. The way we have in the country, they can say baby boomers.
Yeah.
So in like bro, they call us war breed because we
Yeah.
came around the war time,
Yeah.
around noise time.
But the
So
different. Let me just go back and so we can clarify that, because when we use these terms, we have to be able to. So somebody start using it quickly in Liberia. We're baby boomer. Baby boomer refer to the time of war when the soldiers came back. They
right,
just popped babies out.
exactly,
While on the other hand, majority of the children that were born, or that were maybe 8, 9 years old, from 1990 till about 2003,
right.
majority of them
So if you
they're
see,
war survivor and
yeah,
war babies.
exactly.
Yes.
So
Okay.
so
Yeah.
we have the combination of all these different things, but that was my point. So when you go into the different chat room, even when I'm in the different chat room, I read a lot. I see a lot of things.
Yeah. I know
Most
you're
times,
in a lot of chat room with me and you don't see any
most times I don't
anything
write.
yet. You
I don't
don't
say
write.
anything. I will not say anything. Most times I will not say anything. It's like I'm there, but I'm not there. You
Right.
know. But at the same time, people who created the chat room before they put me there, the first thing I get to tell them is, I think you will remember one of the disclaimer I made, one of the chat room, one of the meetings we had was, there are people in these chat rooms that are here primarily, they're
Mm.
planted.
Yes.
And that's what they do, because that's part of what they do. They spies, they convert, or however you want to call it. But that's aside the point. So we just need to put it out there that when you're in a chat room, be careful about what you say or what you write, whatever. You never know who's screenshotting what you write. Not
Right.
necessarily that you can't write what you want to write, especially if you can say what you've said in that chat room
Right.
publicly.
Right.
But
Yes.
here is why I want us to go back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, there was something strange that happened, and I'll pick it back on someone. There was a meme in the race last year. It was not Darius DeLong
Right.
that kick started this whole noise that we see happening, and that name was Tai Wongwe. I come back to Tai Wongwe. I said something very interesting about Tai
Precisely
Wongwe.
this month.
Yes,
Precisely this month.
exactly. I
Yeah.
said something interesting about Tai Wongwe last time when we were
Yes.
here.
Mm-hmm.
I said Tai Wongwe might not necessarily win, but Tai Wongwe will spark change.
You did.
And so most people thought I was crazy. And they said I was supporting Tai Wongwe and I was pushing Tai Wongwe against the CPP.
Mm-hmm.
But it was critically important for Tai Wongwe to come through.
Mm-hmm.
It was very important.
Right.
Now, some things happen on earth, we don't understand why they happen. But there are also some things that we understand why they happen
Mm-hmm.
because of either precedences that were set, or we understand why they happen because we can go back and track them. That's why histories are very important. So
Right.
I say this to say, the incident that is happening with Tai Wongwe, that happened with Tai Wongwe, sparked up something very serious.
It
Now,
did.
again, let me make this a disclaimer. I don't agree with what Tai Wongwe work. I don't agree with his controversial stand. His stance, some things he writes, some days it throws me off, it confuses me. I want to be very clear about it. But I think what happened to him last year in the midterm elections, in the senatorial elections last year in Nima County within the CPP, it was absolutely wrong. I stand by that last time. I will stand by it today, and I stand by it going forward. Wrong is wrong, you know. So, but we see that Tai Wongwe was played by the same system and the same CPP framework document.
Yes.
Because the CPP framework document enables them to do what we call lobbying in politics.
Right.
Now, somebody might interpret lobbying differently. That's fine.
Yeah.
It does not necessarily mean your interpretation of lobbying at that time. We have to look at the word for what it is and what people are going to act upon it. So I give you a typical example. I was talking to a young man in Liberia, and he started to complain. He said, "B brother, you know, when most of the women in Liberia, when you don't have money, they look down on you, they don't see you." So I said, "Yes, my question to you: do they sleep? Do they come to people for money?" And he said to me, "Yes. If you get money, you can mess with them." So I said, "Okay, that's prostitution." He said, "No, that's not prostitution." He wanted to argue with me. I said, "Okay, let's go to the definition of prostitution." I said, "It's not about what they think. It's not about how they want to interpret it because they want to justify the action. It's about what the word is." So you can be changing words so that it can suit your situation.
It can suit you. That's being situation. Require situational ethics.
Exactly. You can do that. You can do that. So I said that prostitution. So when we define the word prostitution, what it means in the dictionary, he come to understand that prostitution is actually a verb. It's an action word. So that means you are doing an act. It's not only that you are asking for the money, but you are doing something in exchange for the money. So when we clarify that, he said, "Oh, you made a lot of sense. I didn't see it that way." I said, "So the next girl that you will see, tell her what I told you. She will get pissed off, but tell her it's okay for her to get pissed off. But she has to understand that this thing does not suit her."
That's provoking.
So what do I mean by that? Not to be disrespectful to anyone, but and it's vice versa. If a young man, you know, do that with an older woman, go on however you want to term it, it's the same thing. It's relatable. But let's come back to the Tai Wongwe situation. If the framework document tells you that you can lobby, and Tai Wongwe lobbies, and at the last minute you change the delegate, you didn't cheat Tai Wongwe. You cheated the same constitution or the same document that's supposed to guide you.
So and then you also cheated the process and the system that you put in place. So you put in place.
Exactly. So you see, so our problem in Liberia, truly speaking, is fundamental, but most importantly, it really has to do with the fact that we're not able to follow simple system and law. So it becomes a problem. It becomes a burden on society. So let's say, for example, when you and I leave from here right now to drive on the road, let's say we decide to go to the coca right now. When we get to the light there, does the policeman have to be there?
No.
For us to stop to the red light?
No. It's automatic. It's programmed in our head that we know that there is no law that we must follow.
We must follow. So the same thing with if you are a Liberian and you come from Liberia, it doesn't matter if you can run a red light in Liberia. When you come here, you will not run a red light.
Then they wouldn't. They wouldn't do it.
You know why they wouldn't do it?
Because they know that the system is going to take place. The process, you're going to go through the process. It does not matter when your father is.
If you refuse to go through the process, what happens?
You'll go to jail.
You get up. There's a consequence.
There's a consequence. There's a reprimand.
Exactly. So the same thing should have happened when Tai Wongwe was cheated. So my question to the CPP is this. What is the report from the Tai Wongwe incident last year?
Hold on 1 second. Let me make a quick disclaimer. I'm going to make this disclaimer. Prince Sharif, I will not allow you to come on my platform and call anyone dog or any name. I'm going to delete your statement. And then the next time, I will block you. You can speak your mind without being condescending or without being disrespectful. We're not going to do that. We're just not going to do that. You have problem people calling our names. You cannot call somebody name. All right? You can't. You just can't. Go ahead. I would delete this later. Go ahead.
So you see where our problem is. The same way how somebody will tell you in Liberia, because the person is a B-man.
Yes.
So automatically
the B-man can cut in the line.
B-man can cut in the line. He can do anything wrong, and he gets nothing done to him. So that's part of our fundamental problem. But here's what's interesting also. When the framework document came out when it first came out, some of us came out in public and said to them, this framework document is not in each of the Liberian people.
No, it's not. In fact, there was an outrage
everywhere.
Even sedition platform carried it. Yes, yes.
People who are in the opposition resisted because you know what? We saw a semblance of the things that were resisted in George Weah,
and that was not changed.
And yes. Most people don't understand that some of us not supporting George Weah, it's not necessary that we hate George Weah. It's because the things that we expected to change,
yes,
that Unity Party did, we don't see it. Yes. So you see the problem. Right. So this brings me now to a particular figure. I got conversations here with one of the political party's secretary general. Mm-hmm. He had a show on SKTV, but then I was not with SKTV. I was just a contributor. I was not a co-host.
Yes.
After the show, I asked him specifically about the framework documents. Send us the framework document. These are paperwork that's supposed to govern us.
Right.
You keep it from us. You make it look like a top secret. You understand? So where are we headed? Why are you hiding it from us when these things are supposed to be the things that will look at to hold you accountable? Whether you go from Bible time, you go from Quran time, you go from Muslim time, whatever religion, it doesn't matter. There's always been paperwork put in place to guide the people. That's how the Constitution, all the different documents and paperwork. So yes. I asked this person about the framework document. You know what the person told me? They would send me the framework document. I should send them my email address. I sent the person my email address. This person used my email address to try to hack my Facebook account. What sense does that make?
And you see, but I sent you the framework document, though.
No, that was long before then. When I first said they made some changes, I said, okay, y'all bring these changes so that we can go.
Oh, you said that even on the show that time, said they tried to hide your email. Yes,
and figure out what's going on. So when the person made an attempt, I contacted one or two of my friends that are in IT, and the people told me directly who made the attempt, where they made the attempt, and so forth. And I said to myself, I said, what sense does this make? You know? So this framework document they have been hiding and keeping in tight and doing all the shenanigans on a cover with, making it look as a top secret, finally brings us to today. Now, Tai Wongbe gets defeated in the process because they defeated the process. So guess what happened?
They defeated themselves because they defeated the process.
Right. So guess what happened? Mm-hmm. Tai Wongbe gets taken out.
Yes.
Great. Edith Gongolwe shows up. Mm-hmm. Guess what happened? Edith Gongolwe gets defeated.
Yes. So they defeated themselves. But let's go with this though. But Nimba County were actually set up for ANC.
Well.
Right. And then because they came out with that, Alex said, at least that's what I learned, since I'm the leader. The essence of leadership is to influence, right? So we get there, okay? Everybody, I have the list of the people all the other on the other teams that when they went to the primary, they got defeated. They went to other places. Other people didn't have problem with it. So Tai left and went to Nimba. They defeated him, but let's go to the report. There was a report.
So my question becomes, where's the report? Number one. Number two, what I would do on here today.
Yeah. What's the report? Yes.
I will not single out one political party. Mm-hmm. I will call them as CPP.
Okay.
And the facts are always there. So my question has been, where's the report from that incident? We need to see the report. That informs us. Another thing that's critically important for us to understand is we need to stop this pushing thing on the road. And that's why I don't agree with the Liberian Senate for them to have that thing that they're talking about. Them and go and discuss it on the Palava Hall. No, it doesn't work. It will never work. Let me say this to the Liberian people. Let me look at you straight in the face. It would never work.
But it has never worked.
It would never
work. If it didn't work yesterday, why would it work today? That's why we are behind. It would never work.
The style of trying to resolve the pains and the sufferings, the atrocity that were committed in Liberia. I don't care how many presidents can come. You revert to the Palava Hall. It would not move forward in terms of healing. So I say this to say, the CPP, every report that is there must be brought to the public. Let's read it. Let's see where the problem was.
Well, Steve.
So we ourselves can talk about it.
Steve, we have to demand that. Here's why. According to the CCP framework, when a decision is made, okay, it has to be unanimous. If one person, everyone vote is important. If three say yea and one say nay, there's no agreement. If two say yea and two say nay, there is no agreement.
Right.
All four must. And I think the reason that was put in place, somebody was far-sighted enough. The simple majority have not worked for us for the system. That's why our electric have become a lottery ticket, right? So but then certain people wanted. Remember Dolake, who were part of the investigation, the EC,
Right.
wanted to go to court. In fact, he wanted to go to. He showed up at the NEC. I don't know why he was told to stand down, and then he wanted to go to court with that because he figured we wrote a process or a documentation that's supposed to guide us. We are not following this process, and certain people are holding it hostage. So we now who are arguing, or somebody like you who have a voice, have a platform, it is our responsibility now, and the rest of the Liberian people to say we want the investigation. What happened in the Makande?
And we need to have that. To be
Okay.
honest, to move forward.
Okay, so go ahead.
So that is the report. We need to have that first report. The second thing that we also need to have is from the CPP. Look, let me say this. The way the framework document is structured and is organized, it will be practically impossible for all four political leaders to come to any conclusion on the table. Let me tell you why.
Then the people have to settle it. It puts the power in the hands of the
The
people.
people. So
Yes.
So this is why this brings me to my next point.
Okay.
That the idea of black voting is not necessary because we can't give the people power, then we take back the power from them. So why give them power? Is that you telling me in Article 1 in the Constitution where it said the power belongs to the people?
We the people.
Then the people.
Yeah.
And
all power belongs to, yes.
We the people.
Yes.
But then the people are denied power through the executive branch of government. And we resist and oppose President George Weah on that.
Right.
But then you have the opposition who should be the people we say in football, in soccer, who should be warming on the torch to replace President George Weah. They're indirectly replicating, they're showing us signs and symptoms of what they will do when they're some power. Then we should sit there and say, oh, it's okay. Or people should just go and support the opposition. No, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Because I don't have no time and no energy to come back here after 3 years to be saying the same thing. It don't make any sense. Number one. Number two, let's be very honest. We can't be replacing one group of criminals to another group of criminals.
Correct.
Then we ourselves will not go anywhere.
Yeah.
That means we're prone addicted to criminology.
Yeah.
So then I will say to the Liberian people, you'll start giving George Weah alone, you're in the opposition. That's how you want to do it. You'll start giving George Weah alone. You'll start giving hard time. You'll leave him alone, let him do it 6 years, 12 years, 24 years, whatever year you want to get in there, you'll give it to him. After he's done, you'll come to, you'll do your own. You'll start making all the small noise. Simple. So you see, so now it brings me to a lot of different things that's happening in our society. But here is where my concern is, from a general standpoint with the whole CPP, coming to the documentations. Now, I tell you what, these are some things. These are some things that I would just some points that have been argued in the CPP.
Yeah, you took me all the way back though to September 9th last year to September 26th because that was brewing. That stuff with Ty was brewing.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we see similar thing brewing. Now let me get this clear though. Let me get this clear. I've heard some people said that, this is a free way for George Weah. This is a free ride for George Weah.
That's not a true statement.
Let me say this to the Liberian people. Let me say this to people who think that George Weah is just going to ride free. Let me say this to people who think George Weah is going to ride free. That's not truth. You don't understand history. You don't understand numbers. And you don't understand what the CDC-led government is doing to itself to shoot itself in the foot on a daily basis. And as evident by that, even with all the noise in the CPP last time, before the elections, guess what? The CPP were still able to win lots of counties over the CDC.
Yes.
So that tells you that the Liberian people themselves don't want the CDC. Well, I don't care what the CDC say. I don't care what they do. They don't want them. Now, does it mean that if they put themselves together and they start to show some sign of seriousness now, there wouldn't be some challenge going on. There could be, but they're not doing it. So that put us at a disadvantage.
And let me add to that. Margaret Thatcher once said, 2 weeks in the political arena is a long time. Plenty things can happen. A lot of things can change, right?
Right.
So just like you alluded to that, if the CDC put themselves together,
Yeah.
but it's not in their nature to put itself
No, it's not.
together. Even for 12 years, they did the same exact thing.
Right.
Okay, the fight, whatever the fight was about, what the fight was about. Okay, the brutality that they exhibited, they still exhibit it today. Okay, the lawlessness that they exhibited, they exist. I mean, giving them power, and we say power corrupt men, right? It even exacerbated everything. We will start. Let me get more to talk for another 20, 30 minutes. I'm just gonna let him talk for now because he got a lot of stuff to upload, and then we'll take some call because we're having an open mic.
So let's look at the CPP framework document and argument that's going on. So, we have been working with some people who's and because of time tonight, hopefully on the show on Monday or going forward, we'll go into it a little deeper. But here are some things I want to bring people to start thinking about. If you have any access to the old document and the new one that was submitted to NEC, because there's a document at NEC. Let me say it again. And this is not in defense of anybody. I'm not here, like I said, I don't speak about any party. But because I have access to the facts and I have these documents in my possession, there's a document at the NEC. Don't let nobody fool you and make fool out of you to tell you to demand a document. When you do that, it shows that you yourself are not thinking or you are not investigating or asking the right questions. There's a document at NEC, Liberians, just so you know. Whether you're in the CPP or in the opposition, there's a document at NEC. But here's what will prove that there's a document at NEC. So the old document, one of the conversations that's been brought up is in the old document is in Article 11. And if you go to the document that is at NEC, to clarify that, when the lawyers did it, you'll find that clarification in Article 7. That discrepancy in Article 11 in the CPP framework document is in Article 7. But we'll go even down a little further. When you go to Article 3, there is also a discrepancy there, which was settled at some point. You also find that in Article 5 to clarify the discrepancy. When you come down a little bit more to where it said the conflict resolution, that part where they had the conflict resolution, when they had to do your conflict, in the old document, it was in Article 7.5. But then, when the document that's at NEC, it settles it. It tells you how to do your dispute in Article 12. The document that's at NEC.
So hold on, Steve. Let me explain this in a layman terms. When a non-legal mind write a document,
right,
it's different.
So that the old one, the old document I will talk about now.
When a legal mind writes, okay,
exactly,
because one word can have 5 different meanings. So whatever choice of word that is choosing in their book, they have to define those terms.
Most definitely.
Okay. For clarity, for tomorrow, let's say legal purposes. Let's say I say foundation. All right. What am I using for foundation? What it is? So you have to go. There's a place for you to find it. When an everyday person writes that, they are not going to come and define the term.
Most definitely.
Okay. So I just wanted to bring that so we can see what we're talking about.
So for conflict resolution, if you look in the old document, in the OCPP framework document, you go to Article 7.5, you see there how they chose to do conflict, but it was not clear enough. It was vague.
Yes.
So in order for the lawyers to clarify, which Belinda you alluded to, that they agreed on the lawyers changing it. Guess what? The document that is at NEC today, if you go to Article 12, it clarifies it. The other part of it also that they've been having the physical or the health issues that they've been talking about. Go to Article, if you read the old document, Article 10.1.10 is there. So in the old document, it was vague. It was not clear.
So hold on. Let me say this. What I gather, okay? And I'm not talking as an executive. I'm not talking as.
So you're executive. Who party? Because me, I want to know.
No. Hold on.
No. We gotta have them. No. We party executive.
See, don't talk to your woman like that.
We just don't know.
I'm speaking as an advocate right now, and as a citizen. When that particular clause was put in place, because it was vague,
right,
there was an ability or option for people to be discriminatory. So they decided to elaborate on it, define the terms,
Yes.
and set the perimeter.
Yes.
So everyone, especially people who already have pre-existing
Existing conditions.
conditions,
Yes.
can also be fair to.
Yes.
Yeah, okay? So certain people were also not just a particular person, but people with other health challenges. Okay, so people do not discriminate against them. So for today, you know, I'm healthy as far as you're concerned, and I know you are.
Right.
But let me say that one of the young men I was collecting signature for us in one of the counties were in an accident 2 days later and busted his eyes. He was not born with that. All right. I'm just supposed to do something for him anyway. And here we are. All right. So you don't know what the next hour will be.
Most definitely.
Okay. So they instead of leaving the term vague, where I can come and you know, it's just on the Liberian Senate. There are terms in our constitution that they were supposed to write law to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
They have not done so.
Yes.
So because of that, all the power is in the hand. For instance, the civil service stuff there, they weren't supposed to determine salary. Now they leave it, they and the executive decide their own salary.
Right.
So this particular framework was set out. These people put a lot of time and in that to make sure that things are not just implied, but they were explicit and spell out correctly, right? Am I right so far?
Yes,
so
definitely.
Go ahead. I'm gonna just
And that makes sense because
yes,
because these things. Let's say for example, if the old work would have remained the way it was, the framework document. Guess what happened?
What happened?
Per the old framework document, Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai with the pacemaker would be automatically kicked out.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Because that's what it says. That's what the document says about the healthcare issue. So somebody could raise a contention and say, no, he can't go for it because he has a pacemaker, and that pacemaker in itself puts him at a high health risk to some extent, whether you like it or not. So he's restrictive. So now, in order to make it vague, in order to not keep it vague like that, to not exclude him from the process, guess what it did? It was changed by the lawyers so that there could be terms in there that keep him in the race. So I gave you an example.
Wow.
In America, the healthcare organizations, you know why President Donald Trump and some of the Republicans decided that they will overturn the Obamacare? You know why?
No.
Because in that, the Obamacare imposed upon the different health organization or the different pharmaceutical companies or healthcare providers and said, listen, whether somebody has a pre-existing condition or not, they will meet the healthcare condition and you will take care of them.
Yes.
Well, if you take that Obamacare out, you know what happened? Donald Trump will get caught. Other people will get caught. The pharmaceutical company will get caught because you know what happened? It exclude people who got existing healthcare condition. It exclude them from being qualified for certain things. So that means the state and the federal government will withhold that money and not be able to pay it to them. So that was the idea behind that because these guys will get a cut.
So then let me come and so we live in 2 words and I like to give practical example.
Okay.
And that's why when the people voted for Donald Trump and they thought Obamacare or something else, the Affordable Care was different from Obamacare.
Right.
Then they found out later, if they reverse it, then their children or they themselves who have pre-existing condition were not going to be covered. You remember when Trump took over, there were protests literally everywhere.
Yes.
I still have this particular one guy in my head who say, we hire you and we make sure. In fact, they had a town hall with their lawmaker and say that affordable care because most people didn't read it. They just thought Obamacare and they didn't want the black man in, right? But they didn't know that was for protecting them from, yes. So as far as we're concerned, Benin Nigeria does not have pre-existing condition. As far as we're concerned, because we don't know that publicly. Normally, Kanga does not have that. As far as we're concerned, Benin Nigeria, all 3 of them, but we know because then it brings me to this. So I will ask you this question because it's taking me back. I'm rewinding. When my pops appeared on 50-50, the question I was asked, Pop Wakai. Okay. I told him my papa and my brother father. It was like a father to my brother per se. The question I was asked was different, but he asked the question, and all along people were saying that was not true, and he alluded to that and admitted to that He was under a lot of stress during the last election,
Hmm.
and he had some breakdown health-wise, and he had to get a pacemaker. But explain to us more, because I'm actually enjoying this conversation. Listen, folks, let me give this disclaimer. We're not here to pass judgment. I don't know where tomorrow holds, but we're trying to understand all this wallabaloo that is going on. Go ahead, Mo.
So, 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 you know, people who do these political things,
Mm-hmm.
whether in Liberia or other places,
Mm-hmm.
they hire people from different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they hire people from different backgrounds is because they want to understand, especially how the human mind works.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I would urge the Liberian people to do, Liberian politicians, hire psychologists. They're able to tell you a lot of different things. They're able to strategize. So let me tell you,
Mm-hmm.
when Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boaka jumped the question, instead of asking what Tima Jalate asking
Mm-hmm.
as to if he went for checkup, but he said pardon, and then he said
Yeah.
he went to
I,
do
I I actually have that
a
clip. Yes.
process.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
know,
Mm-hmm.
okay. It's more alike a strategy in order say it before other people say it,
Right.
or before it comes out and choke you, or whatever it is.
Right.
And nothing wrong for saying it, like you said earlier. Nothing wrong for saying
He
it.
didn't buy it.
Exactly.
He didn't
So
buy
so
it. You have a health challenge. You have a health challenge.
and
Yes.
these are facts. So now let's stick. If we were to stick with the old constitution
Mm-hmm.
in Article 10, if we were to stick with the old constitution,
Mm-hmm.
I can assure you that it would have raised a serious concern, a serious loss about his health issues. Why, if they have gone to elect him and somebody comes out and say, no, 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 he has a health issue that is a serious concern,
Mm-hmm.
and get a doctor to check it out, all of that, and to bring that in the public or to bring that now and make the case, guess what would have happened? And it would have exacerbated the problem. So it was not wrong to have the legal minds rewrite this thing
Mm-hmm.
and put it in a term that anywhere you take it around the world, hopefully, legally, because that's where all our problem settles. It
Mm-hmm.
settles in the courts. Whether you
Yes.
like it or not, it don't settle behind the horse. It
Right.
settles in the court.
Mm-hmm.
So, and according to our law, according to our laws,
Mm-hmm.
according to the Constitution, the Supreme Court is the final arbiter of any noise in the
Yes.
country. So
Yeah.
if it were taken to the Supreme Court, and you know what's interesting?
Mm-mm.
You know what's interesting that some people don't know? I had a privilege to get the list of the lawyers
Mm-hmm.
that were on this framework document working.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And let me list one or two of them. And
Yes,
we can look
uh-huh.
into them and see. Anthony Kofi Woods. He was part of the people that wrote this. Another person,
And Kofi was a UPN.
it's Benedict Shannon.
Uh-huh.
You know, another person on the list here is Saju Kamara. So you see, all these people, they're legal minds.
Legal minds, and they're mostly UPN.
Again, this thing, I want to stay generally focused on the fact that even the eligibility clause that they're still making some halubalu about. If you go to Article 10.3, you will see there that the paperwork that is to neck, it's they fix it up in Article 3. So my question is this: Article 11. I mean, my question has always been, okay, if you have such a concern, and you guys have decided to have an investigative team, what is the report of this investigative team? But this is what brings me to the biggest concern.
I'm listening.
It brings
Like
me
when
to
people are
it
listening.
brings me to the biggest concern. If the CPP has somebody that is working on this to adjudicate the whole accusation that Benedict Uyeh made, that there was a change to the Constitution, which is the right thing to do for them to look into every claim and every concern, so that everything can be balanced out. Nothing wrong with looking into it. To be very frank, there's nothing wrong. I want to be clear on it tonight that there's nothing wrong with somebody making an accusation and people looking into it, so that we're on a clear and say, hey, you made an accusation, so that somebody can say to them tomorrow, oh, I made an allegation or I made an accusation and nobody looked into it, so it was okay. Now, have they come out with any report on the findings, on the allegations that were made? As of yet, I have not read anything, I have not seen any document. But here is what my concern is. I think the CPP needs to be careful, and this, I will give the advice to the CPP openly and free of charge. Anyone who comes up and make a claim that is not a leader of the CPP, I will ask the CPP to write and debunk any lie in that person's statement to save the face of the CPP until you
I
can come
think
up
I
with
think that's
findings.
what Yeke said today in so many words.
So on a bigger note, the question for me now becomes: is this somebody trying to infiltrate and influence the CPP to create a problem within the CPP, not necessarily for a particular person, but in the CPP at large? That is a question we need to be asking. And the reason I'm asking these questions is because, as for me, I'm not interested in answers. I'm interested in the questions that people ask. Because the questions that you ask will spark either another question, will create credibility problems, or it will lead to the direction that you want to go in. The reason I'm asking this question is because of this. There are two major reasons. The first thing is, why would people go to some extent to create a serious noise in the CPP when, as we speak right now, forget about the whole CPP thing. Forget about the CPP. I say it. Forget about CPP. Forget about CDC. There's a war raged against our women, our sisters, our mothers in Liberia. Not only that this war raged against our women, our sisters, and our mothers in Liberia, if you go back to the reports that was given on Liberia for this year, for last year, beginning of this year, or so forth, did you see the Human Rights Report? Did you see how damaging it was to Liberia? And you expect government to say they're coming to lobby the United States when you have, whether you like it or not, a former president's son allegedly being killed or murdered. Not only that, you have on a daily basis, and somebody will come and tell me, oh, but Steve, that thing, the thing that been happening a long time ago. Listen, if it happened during Dothan, we know how technology. I'm not saying people were not hurt by them. We have technology this time in the world is a global village. People are watching. People are watching on a daily basis. And all of these things will come up in the next report next year. So guess what happened? The government should not revert and say the opposition making them ugly. What are we doing as a nation, as a people, to ensure those who are responsible to ensure the security and the safety of our people, they're held accountable for these things? What are we doing? What are we doing? So is this a distraction to take away from these things? When people are hurt, do you know how many family members are hurt? Do you know how many people go out there crying because their last loved ones or the last loved one is no longer there? Do you know what that means? Do you really know what that means? For somebody to sell potato green all through the years, send a daughter to school, send a child to school, only for them to come and be there, and Moses Carter sits there and talk a bunch of gibberish that people don't understand, and they think this is a joke, they think this is fun. Do you know what that means? Do you really know what that means?
Since we're talking about this, I actually just got off the phone with Ruth Ellery, Melvin Ellery wife, and she said to me, "Sis, I'm just confused. I don't know how to get up today. I don't know what to tell my children." This weekend would have been the weekend that or traditional her diary was paid. Next weekend will be the weekend where she got married. Although they've been together forever, for some time, not forever. And I said this though. I said this, and I said this to a lot of people. I watched people, like a man was talking about how he got on a keke to go home from church, and they literally pulled a handkerchief to his nose, injected him, and took him to a slaughterhouse where they had people, and they were taking. There was a boy there taking, and he literally found himself in Bon County somewhere, and people are under there laughing at him. People are under there and say, the papi, we think you drink too much. Oh, how you say his story. And I'm looking at Liberian. I don't think Melvin Ellis ever thought in his lifetime he would be murdered in broad daylight. I don't think the Blamos ever thought under a regime of George Weah, his son will be kidnapped and taken for whatever. We were assumed, because after the first 48 hours, you can't find somebody, you're not going to find them again. Okay? And the man who came and got them to go work for him were running away. They brought him and gave him more contracts. Meaning they told the Liberian people in your face, you don't like it, to hell with you, you like it, to hell with you. Excuse me, my French. I don't know, I don't talk about that, but this is where I am. And I'm hearing this woman and her children. She's crying. I will show you more while we're here. This is how many times this woman had called me today. The phone was not connecting. Let me show this to you. Let me show this to you. I'm just want to show it to you. You see how many calls here? This is her, and I call her too. all week. If you look, you will see that we'll go back and forth all week. It's like, and I'm not a therapist. It's stressful. The point I'm trying to make is we know that Josh we didn't use money to come lobby here. We know that ArcelorMittal is taking advantage of our people. I don't know if you saw. Let me first of all say to Spoon, congratulations. It is really sad, Mo, that a company that have been in Liberia for over 14 years take out over billions, 25% of their income come from Liberia, although we're poor, but billions come from our country annually. That nobody have ever gone, no press have ever gone in the last 13, 14 years to find out how our people were living. Liberians live in, the continent, the shipping continent, that where Liberia live in, on their own land. But the Indians live in house. All of the agreement that were put in the contract that they were supposed to have done, they have not done so. And Jeremiah Kunto with him, Spoon TV, to go to Lamko Yekipa to see. They even stopped at the OAU village. There is nothing there. All right? So now they're paying here to lobby. So, I hear people say they signed an $80 billion contract. How does that contract benefit Liberians? How does that benefit Nima Kennedy? How does that benefit the people beneath the mine who cannot afford to buy water to drink because they buy all of the water out of Monrovia or whatever, and they bring themselves Volvic water or spring water, whatever you call it? How does the woman who have a baby in the future and that baby is born deformed due to the chemical that comes down the stream of the water? How does the child that is born with all these different growth or cancer because of the chemical? We saw that Flint River right there that trickled down into the body of water. How many mechanical people or chemicals engineers or scientists that we know that is testing the water temperature and the lead and the different chemicals that run down the water before the people drink it? We don't have that kind of equipment. But they're telling us $80 billion over this year. How does that $80 billion trickle down? And they say that $80 billion, a million, or 80 million, or 800 million.
800 million.
800 million.
Yes.
Okay. You spend 500 million annually, and you got over 70% unemployment. You have no schools. Your children stay in line to beg. All people have nowhere to go. The beg or live on their children. The disabled or the people, with special needs, they live on begging. They're dehumanized. So how much is $800 million in a 5 million country? All right. I'm here. In Georgia, there are 10 million people. We have 40 billion as a budget. So how does CPP as an organization in government waiting? Because I see people are getting anxious. My sister-in-law, yeah, you just heard her.
Yeah.
She said, I'm tired, I don't watch TV anymore because I live in Liberia. I went through I just came and I'm here. And the CCP will not take our hope because our people are losing hope. What do you say to them? Elaborate more on that.
So in the midst of this noise, here's a challenge to see. Here's a challenge to CPP in the midst of all this halubalu. Why we get with the reports, the different reports. Let them make it public. I don't think it should be in-house thing. Let them make it public because the beans has already been spilled out here, so we already know what's going on. So we want to read some of them. We want to know what's going on. But here's a challenge for CPP. I want to challenge CPP on this one. Let them get the lawmakers, because they're in majority, to reject this deal.
Say that again.
Let them get the lawmakers to reject this deal.
Can we get Liberian people involved to ask them to the Liberian people actually need to stand up?
Well, let me say this. It takes leaders to empower people to stand up.
Yes.
especially people who are down. And that's where I'm a little, I don't want to say I've given up on Christianity in Liberia, but I'm 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 past the religious community standing up for what is right in Liberia. I'm past that. I'm really past it. For them, there's no hope. Because I had a man of God call me on the phone. Oh, and we can't get involved with politics. And the man of God, I told him, I said, listen, you have no clue of history. You don't even understand the Bible you're reading. If I were you, I'll close my church and go find a job to do. Because you know what happened? The man who led revolution in the country was a reverend. For you and I today to have
Dr. Martin Luther King was a
a
reverend.
reverend.
In fact, the man who started what became the civil rights movement, which is called the Brotherhood of the Sleeping Car. Let me teach you a little bit. Isaac Philip Randolph in the 1920s was a bishop. In fact, he was a reverend who, when that particular movement was growing big, they offered him $7,000 a month. All right? No, $7,000 a year. He was making $10 a month, $120 a year. This is 1924. A black man, all right? A reverend, right? And Martin Luther King came along. He was also a reverend. Jesse Jackson was also a reverend, okay? And the one that we call to the Good Trouble was also a deacon.
So they will say, well, that's not most recent history. Okay, we read the Bible every day. So what happened to Daniel? Daniel was a man of God. Daniel opposed the government. He
So,
stood against the
so
government.
was Nathan.
So was Nathan.
So was Jeremiah. He was a prophet.
So also was Joseph.
Yes.
Was prime minister, but then they called him vice president.
Vice president.
So let me say this to our church folks. Let me say this to you who are in the church. Let me say this to you. If your pastor tells you to not get involved in politics, then you don't know what he's talking about. If possible, leave that church. I don't want to say anything to you. Leave that church. Find somewhere where you have a pastor that will tell you the truth. That you need to wake up. Innocent people are dying on a daily basis. You need to wake up. You need to wake up. The widows are suffering, and the widows are getting too much in Liberia. You need to wake up. You need to wake up. You'll stop this nonsense of fasting and praying and wasting your time. I'm not saying don't pray. Don't get me wrong. But it's a waste of time. It will not give
But
you
let
any
me
result.
say this though, and let me tell you, and I always say this. My husband is a man of God. He's a pastor, right? And I speak my truth, right? So let me say this to you. Faith without works is in vain. You can go to the man for 40 days, 49. When you come back, the only person that's going to get rich when you give their donation to the church, to the pastor and his wife and his children. They will buy themselves a jet. They will build themselves good houses. They will buy themselves good car. You will walk by line day in, day out. And when they did, they feel that after they not collect from all of you, they gave you low dollar to go cook you some dry rice. And that's that. And now, the sad thing is, majority of those churches, the pastor are raping little girls and boys.
So in as much that the churches encourage the church, but here's the thing that comes to the CPP. It comes to the CPP because you know what happened? That's where leadership needs to be shown. Let me say this: all this caucus and CPP caucus, this other caucus. Let me say this: I want to challenge the CPP openly here today and encourage them also at the same time. Get your lawmakers from both houses. You are in numbers. If they don't fall in line, disassociate yourself with them. Leave them hanging.
No.
Let them become independent. Look, it is useless to have them there.
So
Honor your coverage. Honor your name.
Steve. So how about the leaders of the CCP? The last time when the $30,000 business came, okay, and when Mr. Cummings spoke about that, it was a problem. It trickled down. We're still carrying the problem.
So here is it.
Okay.
Here is it.
So if the leaders are taking the charge, including my own senator, Delon is my senator. I didn't elect him to take. I elected him to be my Joe Makafuli. I put everything on the line for him to be my Sankara. I put it on the line for him to be my Jerry Rollins without the gun. I defended him for him to be, the beginning of hope. Not to fit in, not to become a part of. All right? But I'm going to leave that because they're going to come in and start cussing. And I don't even care because most of the people who, let me say to you, no more, let me say that, give me a second. Let me say to you, majority of you new coming who just coming after the success that you already seen the light. And you're all over on Facebook, going up here, When we were here, when people did not believe, you were nowhere around. Go back to Senator Delon podcast. The woman he calls General is me. We were here. Steve, weren't we here? You're just coming, all right? I know the Bible says it does not matter what time you come. Some of us have vested interest and wouldn't want to see Delon down. But, and I always tell people, if I can hold my children accountable, I can hold anyone accountable. So, the point I'm making to you is we need to hold these people accountable. UP, or then I say UP, but the people who have been there, let me go to UP because most of what is happening today, majority of those people, they put those mechanisms in place that is destroying our nation, that is killing our people, and we're here. If they're going to be under the CCP banner, then they must abide. There should be rules that if they break it, they don't need to be there. I don't care what political party they come from.
Well, and that's why I said to you, this conversation for me going on forward, I've made up my mind. I will not single out political parties. I will single out the CPP, and my focus will be more on the CPP than the CDC because I already know what the CDC can do. I already know what it will not do, and I also know what they will do. Simple as that. So this brings me to my point where if the CPP, I don't care how many political parties in there, if they can start to hold these lawmakers accountable, disassociate themselves from them, listen, and even campaign against them, come 2023, campaign against them. Look, somebody will tell me, say, oh, but the CPP, they don't get all no money, they don't do anything, they don't sponsor all. Listen, that's fine. That's fine.
But why do they need to sponsor you?
Well,
You're already using their name. Their name itself is sponsorship.
Well, some people have said that the CPP, they never sponsor my campaign. That they need to be like, listen, here's my thing. The political parties within the CPP need to put their feet down and let these guys know who are up the hill there. That I don't care, even if they change in the last minute, still go against them. Start recruiting new people to replace them. You know what Donald Trump is doing as we speak? In as much as I don't like him, I don't like his policies. You know what he's doing as we speak? Donald Trump is campaigning vigorously to have somebody challenge Mitch McConnell, to challenge him. You see that? That is total reformation. Look, when people start to put your possible replacement in front of you, you will behave. You'll fall in line. You will fall in line. The person that's going to replace you, soon you see them warming on the touch. You know anything getting serious. I need to behave. I need to adjust myself. So what they need to do is they need to use this particular time as a lip. That thing why you say, oh, they get CPP caucus and the caucus they can meet. The caucus they can meet. They think they go take money behind cover. They don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't listen to the political parties, the political leaders. Listen, don't suspend them. Expel them. They might not come back. You don't need them because what benefit is it for you to carry my name behind, carry my last name, or carry my name as a coverage, but you go and misbehave? You don't stand for what I stand for. So you start misbehaving, go on your own. You see it? So that's look. The CPP needs not only to get true to themselves, they need to get radical. If they do this, I can assure you the Liberian people will follow them. So that's why I said the CPP needs to demonstrate leadership for the Liberian people to follow. They are able to shift this narrative. They're able to do the right thing. Listen, the con artists, the crooks, the people who don't want to be serious within the CPP, point them out. They are liabilities. They are liabilities. These guys are playing two-handed games. That in the CPP, these guys are not serious. I don't want to move the country forward. The thing is all about jobs. It's all about opportunities. It's all about coming and getting my own wealth. Listen, screw them. Let them go. Let them go.
Ooh, you said the word.
Yes.
Oops, she said a bad word.
No, it's a good word. It only means that you let them go. These people are not serious. They are a problem. To be honest, they are a problem. And I can say this to you. What happened here in when they went to debate the Affordable Care Act? Before it could be discontinued, you know who it took? It took a man who cares about the country, who suffered in war, who had his arms broken, up to the point where Donald Trump made fun of him.
John McCain.
It took John McCain to say, I know my people and I care about them, and he threw this song.
Yes.
And he said he was not.
Yeah, I remember that.
He said
he said yes.
He said he was not going to vote for it.
Yes.
The reason he was saying that, he was not saying that as a Republican.
No.
He was not saying that as a Democrat or as a senator. He could have cared less because you know what? He could have voted for that.
And he was some multi-millionaire.
And be in good books with Donald
Republican,
Trump.
Yes.
At that time, Donald Trump was the president. So you see what it means to be patriot? It doesn't matter what party you come from. He cared about the future of people. He cared about America because this is the same America he suffered for. This is the same America he went to jail for. Many of you say to us, oh, I got scarred, oh, I went to jail, I paid my price. You pay your price? You pay a price to come and steal for the same people? So then, yes. What kind of price did you pay?
Yes.
What kind of price did you pay? So you see what John McCain did up until today. Donald Trump hates his family. But it's okay because you know what? He is in history today to save the lives of millions. That's where you know people are heroes, when you can save millions and do what is right. So it brings me to my other point here, that listen, CDC should not be the focus. CPP must be the focus. And if CPP must be the focus, CPP must do the right thing. They must do the right thing. Starting look, the whole framework document business, CPP. Let me say it to you. The whole framework document business, you're bringing public to everybody. Yeah, you're bringing public. Yes. Seriously, you're bringing public. And we're discussing. Listen, we discussed it. This is not about sentiment or not about, oh, I'm a party. Forget about the party loyalty thing. Let's be nationalists. Let's be living Liberia.
And let's talk about nationalists. When America was at a crossroad, right? I hear Liberian people say, oh, we're not ready for that. And I always told people in 2006, 2007, is that 2006, 2000? Yeah. When the name Obama surfaced, a lot of people said America was not ready for a black person to be president in this country. Some of us said it was time. People would not be ready for change, but you only need a few people to believe. And I always say this from a biblical standpoint. Every time I reference the Bible, right? Talking about the promised land, when the two, because every time during the wilderness that the tribe was set out and God gave command, the people that would be sent would be, at least there would be representation of all of the tribe. It would be 12, which would be head of each of the two in the Bible. Women were not, but all tribes would be going. And out of the 12 that went to Jericho to look, when they returned, there were only 2 people who said to the Israelites, we can take the land. The rest, the description that they gave was scary. Change starts with one person, right? And it was Joshua and Caleb who came back and said, yes, we can take the land. Now, for us to, when people say to Liberian people, oh, it ain't happened before, so we're not happy. And I tell people, election is always about a rebirth, a new idea. Joe Biden would have said to us, when I took over 3,000, 5,000 people were dying daily, they were dying, so we don't need to do anything they were just down until it stopped by itself, because what Liberian people are saying, stealing have been the order of the day. Killing people, raping little girls, having Gopa and having Goma have always been, so we don't have to change, we just go. So what was the essence of changing, killing Doe? What was the essence of killing Topper? What was the essence of changing within Jeff Obwaka? Why do you want to move? We are. If we're just going to come and get our share of the DME or whatever meat it is. So how do we fix that, Steve?
So
how do we embrace change? How do we get change? How a nation build? How do nation change?
So let me start it from let me start this change and put it in a perspective from the women's standpoint, from a mother. Mm-hmm. When a woman comes to me with a child, and I do a psychological evaluation on the child, and a woman call on the phone and say, I've broken this appointment because my child is 3 years old and he is not walking, he is not talking, he's 4 years old, he's not walking, he's not talking. We get a background history of that parent, from the mom, the father, the grandpa. We try to figure out some things. So when it comes for the evaluation, when I see the child, whatever the mom told me, I respect what she said. But I would take the child and look at the child and assess the child physically first to see if there are anything broken, any bones or anything. Now, if there's nothing broken, that means there is nothing stopping the child from moving forward. So you see it. So the same thing I can say to Liberia. There is nothing stopping Liberia from moving forward because we have everything we need to move forward. Now, the reason I will know, based on what the mother told me, that child needs change, but the change that child needs is growth. Because you can't change anything without growth. And the thing about us is we have big numbers on us, but we've not grown. And in order to grow, you take risk. That's why when you have a child, when you born a child, I want to challenge you. All the children, your biological children, I want to challenge you. You never, ever, from the day that child decided to walk, you never ever lifted them and they just started walking. That child took that risk.
Yes.
And walk for the first time. Whether you encourage them or motivate them, they still took the risk. So that means, in other words, in order for anybody to there should be any growth in your life, you must take risk. Now, is change has to do with risk.
Yeah.
What happened is the white people risk
Yes.
or change with Obama.
Yes.
They took that risk for a black man for the first time. They took that risk collectively, knowing that even within that risk, they could have been wrong in taking that risk, but they took a risk. Now, we took a risk in 2017 with George Weah. We did. We took a risk. Knowingly collectively, because George Weah won overwhelmingly, whether you like it or not, 14 countries out of 15. So that means collectively as a nation, we took a risk. That risk did not yield us. Does that mean that we must be stagnant to not take another risk? That means we don't want to grow. So you see it. So what happens is when a child comes, I will set the child down, and I will look at the child physical morphology. I got to know what's happening physically. Now, if that child is not responding physically, like I said, maybe there's a barrier. We can address that medically. They can be referred. But the next thing I have to examine is, now, why is it there is no change? The reason there is no change is because there is no growth. And in child development, by that age, between anywhere from 1 year old, let me use the word 1 year old for all. I will not use month because it will confuse them. From 1 year to 3 months, at least the child should be walking. If that child is not walking or that child is not doing certain things, something is not normal. So you see, that tells me when I look at Liberia is not normal. And the only reason Liberia is not normal is because we have not grown. We are 170 some years old. We have not grown. People who are 60, 70 years old grow past us. That
Ghana,
means, you know what they did?
Israel.
You know what the people did?
No.
You know what people did? They took risk. Go ask any leader in Africa that advanced their country, they took risk. I give you a common example. Africa is taking risk right now. You know the risk they are taking? They are building similar train track underground from the capital city to another big capital city, another town. So you see what they are doing. What that railroad will do, the railroad that look, it's so modernized that you will not even believe it. It creates how many billions for Ellington or how many millions was given for transportation. But when people drive from Monrovia, to Grange, they get stuck on the road. You know what? That
Franklin, you're calling to give info. I'm live. That's okay. That's okay, love. You call me after 7. I will call you back when I'm done. I'll call you when I'm done. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So what am I saying? If we go back to Ellington, again, I don't want to make this political, but this conversation has to be relatable to the point where one of us can open our eyes and see the truth.
Right.
If we go back to Ellington, to be honest with you, how much have we spent on road construction? Yes, every other president that come after Ellington, guess what they prioritize? Roads. So with all the billions or all the millions that were invested or put into road, our road problem have not been solved. So what that tells me, when the child comes and we do all the evaluation, you know what the next thing I do? We have to refer the child to another thing because we can fix that problem to another person. You understand? Either to a therapist, to whether that. Let's say the child has a speech impairment, to speech therapy or something, or something medical that's supposed to happen. Now, why did I use the child analogy in this thing? Why did I use the child example in this thing? The reason I'm using the child example in this thing is because we need to grow. We need to grow. Until we can grow, there will be no change. And if we have to grow, then that means we have to leave the old things and move on to the next thing. I tell you an example. I know that I'm grown because I know that there are other human beings that I'm responsible for. So you see how growth is.
Yes.
Few years ago, now, let me say this to the Liberian people because this is where we are in our minds. We think we are grown. When you have a job and you can pay your car note and you can wear fine clothes with whether that name brand or no name brand, or you can cut your hair, or you can change your hairstyle daily, or you can change your bed or whatever it is. It does not necessarily mean you're responsible. Your responsibility, your challenges come when other people's responsibility are on you,
On
and
you,
you can
and you're
still keep,
responsible
and you're
for,
still
yeah.
responding to your responsibility while prioritizing them. Then we know you're responsible. So the question becomes, how can we move forward as a nation? Here's where the question becomes. The question becomes, are we ready and willing to take risk? That's what we need to do. Because when you take risk, now I'm not saying take risky risk. I'm saying take risk based on information.
Yeah,
So
prudent risk.
let's say for example, why do you think before you go see your doctor, you can go check to see the ratings or to check and see what they've done in that area before?
Yep.
Why do you think so?
How long they've been in business?
Why you don't just go and just go jump in on a new doctor or go to a so you know why you do that? Because you know that they have expertise, they have the experience in that area to do certain things. Once you've tried some things, especially anything that you try for over 10 years, it's not working, find something different to do. 10 years is not small time. So if you are betting government for 10 years, over 10 years, and you're not very productive, when you come after 6 years or you come back for 6 years, you will not be productive. That's not how life works. It will be another waste of opportunity and time, and that's what we did with George Weah. That's why some of us said from day one, we will not support George Weah. Because we know for sure a man played soccer all through his life. He reached at the highest height, the highest peak. He didn't go back into the era where he excelled to do anything. You think that president he can't do something? His counterpart, Samuel Eto'o, as we speak today, from Cameroon, is running to be the president for the Federation of Football in Cameroon. Go check the records. You know what the people said? The people said they will vote him. Because you know what? That his era of expertise. So you see what we are saying? What I'm saying in a nutshell is we need to take risks. We need to take risks. Make use of the opportunity.
Let me call John. Let me call John and see what he says. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the second thought. I'm trying my new platform. I don't have everything correct yet, but I'm having this is a conversation with Steve Bully. John, you're live. What's your thought?
Several thoughts, and thank you for the occasion to express some of my thoughts.
Okay.
I agree with Steve, most of what he's saying, but let me start with this. Liberian people now are saying, oh, but what did Mr. Cummings join the CPT? And I see some of the UP and whoever else saying, well, he knows these people are not trustworthy, then why you want to be with them? Listen, you see, people with wisdom, when they say things, most times, people don't understand what they're saying or what they're doing until the end result, right? From my interaction with Mr. Cummings about a year ago or two different times, I looked at things in one way and Mr. Cummings made a decision. I was not too okay with it, but like he said, let's take the risk and see what happens. It always turned out that he was right in the end. From what I see, Mr. Cummings made a calculated decision to expose these people to the Liberian people. They believe so much in them. They believe in the stories they told. So, okay, I'm going to be the sacrificial lamb here. If they change, I'm ready to be the loser. But I'm sure they will not change. And it has become evident to the Liberian people that these people can be trusted. Everybody who has common sense can look at this and see through it. The first thing I would say, and I said on another show yesterday, if I was in the position of Yombli Kanga, I wouldn't even call people to look at that document until Mr. Ure can point out exactly when he said the document was tempered And when and by whom, there's no need for investigation. You're only satisfying his intent. His intent was to raise doubt. And that's why you see his students going around and putting this thing out of proportion. Mr. Cummings, being the calm man that he is, knowing that he did nothing, is sitting down and watching. But because their intent was not to find out the truth, because they know the truth is that he didn't do anything, they send them back out to spread doubt. The intent in the beginning was that in their minds, they thought Mr. Cummings had no chance of winning it. Coming close to the end, they find that Mr. Cummings' population is growing so much, it's scaring them. So they want them to have a choice. Either to change what's in the document or to get out. What they didn't see coming was the factor in the framework document that made it impossible for them to leave. Because that was their intent altogether, all along. If they were not going to win, then they would move and break everything out. Now, even if they recuse themselves, it's too late to file a new document with NEC. So that means they can't even run. And this is confusing them. So the whole idea, like Steve said, asking that they withdraw the document for NEC, if you withdraw the document for NEC, it means that you never give NEC a document. That means you can't register the CPP anyway. You see? So they're trying to be slick here. And though we are
They're trying to withdraw the document from NEC.
Where the people are going to do the investigation, why then can't we wait to see what the result comes out to be? And I will propose, if I may, that like Steve is saying, this thing should be public.
I think there should be, though. I think there should be
The
because
result of this investigation should be made public, and whoever is the culprit, even if it is my political leader, who is Mr. Alexander Cummings, that person should be brought to public disrepute, and they should be expelled from the CPP. That person should be brought to public disrepute and be expelled from the CPP. That will set the precedent. Look, if Liberia must change, we must do things differently.
correct.
This crookedness has continued for too long. Everybody, and that's the true definition of what you hear them say, Liberia politics. The truth about politics is you don't have a politics if you can't provide for yourself. So Liberia has no politics. So what they consider Liberia politics is how much you can trick or confuse the population, taking advantage of the low information state under which we operate.
John, you want to finish your talk, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking on the NEMA issue, that was another point. But that's something that has been fixed after that investigation that Steve is asking for. Now you cannot change your delegate overnight. So that's
But John, now that Steve talked about it though, Steve said after the investigation, they refused to publish it. Because here is it though. Mr. Cummings came in, he condemned what happened there and said there was a need for investigation. 3 people went to NEC register a person. Mr. Cummings called everybody and said, calm down. We have to look at the bigger picture. We have to look at the greater goods of this nation. I think now they took that as a witness. You know, I'm just saying. So we need all of those documentation. We need the investigation. You can't, no, John, you can't come and stress the public. This is about us. They and their children are okay. It is our children that are being raped and killed. It is our people that can't find food to eat, right? But then after this is done, then you say, oh, the report should be private. The Liberian people need to demand of it. But go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned about this Lima County document, $800 million so far. Listen, Liberian people got to learn to stand up for their rights. They got to know that the power is inherent in the people. The power is inherent in the people. You cannot sit there and let these people exploit you all the time. You see the government passing a whole lot of numbers. But you also saw that the Senate went and authorized them to print double the amount of money they have in circulation. So
Mhm.
who knows which money they're talking about? Now they're signing an $800 million document, or they want to sign an $800 extension of a contract. Look at Yekipa. Look at Yekipa. These people have not built one house. They have not built one road. They brought containers and put it there and keeping the people like animals in the place and just working and exploiting. Look, if these people can pay the Liberian government $800 million to extort resources, they're making billions. And so you need to insist that they do what they have to do or they get out. Another company will take it. If it was not important, they won't be there. And we can't sit there and let people, because for their personal aggrandizement, want to fool or misinform the Liberian people. And the Liberian people, starting with the so-called senators, need to stop. And like Steve said, if these senators cannot do their job, the Liberian people need to occupy that Capitol building yard, and the political parties which they represent need to expel them.
Thank you, John.
Let the Liberian people know who they are.
Thank you, John. Okay.
And I thank you.
Thank you. All right. If anyone out there want to call, we'll take one more call for 2 minutes and we'll call it a day. Steve, what you say to the people? Before you come on again, hello everyone. Steve is here in Georgia. Yes, we are in Georgia. We are in the Peach City, Dr. Martin Luther King City, where the Stone Mountain of Georgia that he highly spoke up. So we are here last year around this time. We sat in the same place. We're actually making history. Around the same time, we sat in the same living room and we had a conversation. There were a lot of stuff brewing with the CCP in a year ago. So we are still, I can see change though, Steve, I can see change. It may not be where we want to be. People are standing up. However, they're standing up. It may not be the way we want them to stand up. Liberians are speaking up. The young people are speaking up. And usually it's the church and the young people because the young people are brave enough. What happened in this country, Black Lives Matter, we saw the anger of the children. The most black kids, young black kids or young people voted in history in this election to change that, right? And you always say to people, and you started saying this, which I really like, you say stay with your political party, but vote for your country, correct?
Yes.
Republican did that. The Lincoln Project, the Reagan and Republican, they raised their own money. They ran campaign for America, not for a political party, but it belonged to the Republican Party, but they needed to save their nation. Just bring that to you.
So I think there is hope. Let me say this.
Thank you.
Liberians are one of the most adaptable people I've seen, in my entire lifetime or profession. I've noticed Liberians, we are very adaptable. You know, what do I mean? In other words, that adaptable word pretty much means we can fit anywhere.
We can fit anywhere. We can survive.
We can survive anywhere. We can, face anything. So you take a Liberian right now, even in America, when there's no bed, they will sleep on the floor.
Oh yeah.
No food. Back in the war, people ate bubble jump,
Bubble jump,
and other things.
We're adaptable.
We're adaptable. The only thing that needs to be reinforced when it comes to Liberia is, law, rules, organization, structure, and punishments. When you have these things in line, Liberian people will fall in line. And I say this though. Let me say this. I think I think there is hope in this entire thing. I'm not saying the change will come automatically. That's something that we're yearning for. It will not come automatically, but yes, we have made some changes and some adjustments. Um, but I think we need to push a little harder. Now, this is what I want to predict before the show is over. Coming to 2023, I think in the next few weeks, there's going to be a lot of exposures. Um, the noise will not automatically cease. There will be a lot of exposures. To be very frank, some things will come out, some facts will come out, some things will be unveiled. Um, I also really do think from the CDC standpoint, I think they have not changed. I think they're emboldened because they're comfortable. Um, but I also think, which I'm not going to say here, there's a serious surprise for them. I'm not going to say it on here. There's a serious surprise for the CDC-led government. Very serious. And it will shock them. It will shock them because they probably didn't see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
It will shock them. I want to encourage the Liberian people to be resilient, to be strong. You know, I don't care who does in the CPP, what happens to the CPP. If the CPP fails to do the right thing, there is hope that God will always raise somebody else.
Oh yeah.
So no one's indispensable. So you pass around
Mm-hmm.
and you think that what me say, you think that you're the new people in the town. And we say you're the new woman in the town now. So all the men are looking at your CPP. You think you're the new people in the town. You don't get your act together. You don't get it together. You keep messing around. I think this is going to be the normal thing. No, it's not going to be the normal thing. It's not going to be the normal thing. It is not going to be the normal thing. Y'all got to get it together. And like the way Yeka said, I would not say it in your voice or the language you used, but I would say clear. Look, I doubt this thing of this person being wise and having wisdom. When the wisdom cannot impact the people, it cannot benefit the people. Silence is not wisdom.
Hold on, Steve. Bramika? Hi, are you watching me? That's okay.
It's
You
very
want to say
important.
something?
Don't put it on.
But let me put you live so people can hear you. People want to hear what you gotta say. You don't have to call your name, just talk. Okay, hold on. Steve, this is for you. Go ahead.
I will call your name.
Go, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no problem. Yeah, but I've been listening and you guys made some very important points. The problem here is our people are confused because they really don't know what they want. That's the problem. That's one. And with everything that's going on with the all this information about somebody tweaking documents and all of that, Steve, everything you said, I agree with you 100%. If we want our country to actually change, we need to start off being an example, setting an example on ourselves. So that way, people out there that are anticipating that this thing is going to break CPP apart will be disappointed because if you are coming up front with clean hands, even though we don't know the facts yet, but if things that were done that shouldn't have been done, the problem here is you're coming up to be factual. So you are saying, even though we do have internal problems, but we are bold enough and sincere enough to bring it to the Liberian people to make a decision. The focus should not be on CDC. The focus should be on CPP because CDC is doing a very good job for CPP.
Yeah.
So why focus on them? Let them continue to do what they're doing. They're very, very good. Focus on CPP, building your coalition and preaching the message and allowing Liberian people to know about the things. Educating Liberian people on the things you intend to do. Forget about those guys. They're doing a very good job, by the way. So
And I was just in Liberia 4 weeks ago. Nothing's changed.
Hmm.
So the Liberian people actually want change, but the kind of change we are trying to present to them, they've never experienced that before. Steve, we grew up in a time we consider normal times. Children born from 1990 to the end of the time the Liberian Civil War stopped. Look, their normalcy is quite different from ours.
Hmm.
So everything they grew up in, chaos and everything else they saw is what they consider normal. They know nothing that's right. They've never seen it being. So we were born prior to that in the late 70s, 80s, 60s. Look, we've seen chaos. We know what right is when there is right, and we know what wrong is when there is wrong. And my prayer is that this thing will come to a halt, and then people will get on track and will focus and start preaching that message to Liberian people, because the Liberian people need people like you guys. They need people who will show them that, look, politics is not the only way to be successful. There are so many other things you can inspire yourself to do. And if you have the right system in place, we don't really need the government to hold your hands and let you crawl, walk, or stand. Because all they need to do is create the opportunity and people will find their own path. But thank you guys so much, and let me not hold you. I'm still enjoying the conversation.
Thank you, Brother Mika. Oh, you have to, Steve, you tell you because Brother Mika does not call.
So, so let me. Oh, okay. So let me close up by saying this. Let me close up this thing by saying this. I think, in all honesty, I think we should be ready for what is about to happen, because whether we like it or not, um, change is here. Um, when sometimes I hear people saying we've had normal days in Liberia.
I've never had no more days.
There have been no normal days in Liberia. Let me say it that way. Even before some of us were born, there was no normal day. And the reason I say that is because when there is normal day, you see normal things. Everything that has happened to Liberia has been, for the most part, abnormal. Um, yes, you have some calm time where there has been no war or nobody running around just for a short single time. That's not normal. Because if it were normal for true, then I think we will have a normal history. We have an abnormal history, you know. And so, you know, there's no normal, but those are choice of words that all of us can use. But I really want to thank all of our callers. To the CPP again, a hint of wise is quite sufficient. If your thing, you're a new fan girl in town, everybody looking at, you will not be, somebody will come behind the horse and will take you by surprise. You saw what happened in Guinea very recently. This is not a threat to anybody. It's not about war. It's just an example. Nobody saw Dumuya coming to take over from the president, of Guinea. Nobody saw that, But I'm saying nobody saw Obama coming. There are some things that you don't see, especially when change and seriousness are about to take place. You don't see it coming. You don't even expect it. Nobody saw Moses then coming to be leader for Israel and coming back to Egypt and telling the king what to do at that time. Nobody really saw that coming. You get serious. You get serious. You get serious because this generation, George Weah said it. He said it right way. He said our generation is one of the most brave generations. And that's true. And it will even get worse. It will even get worse. And somehow, thank God we're talking now on Facebook, other platforms, other places. We will talk everything. We're not getting no secret. Because we're not part of nothing. Me, I'm not part of nothing. I'm not in no party. And I get no political leader. And I get no party mandate on me. So I'm free agent. I can talk and I will talk. I will say as it is. The blood of true I will talk it. The blood lie I will talk it. I might not say lie again because, I have some meetings with some people. They say I should be sticking on the professional side. My Oma too says stay on the professional side. So listen, I'll be on the professional side, but I will keep it 100%. And definitely get a framework document. If you don't have it, reach out to us. We share the information with you. You know, information is very important. Let's share the information. I don't care which side you are on. And don't listen. For me, I'm not no going after anybody or so forth or saying anything like that. But let's get the information to our people. And once we have the information, then we can know who's saying the truth and who's not saying the truth, and we move from there as a nation. Let's educate one another. Let's inform one another. Think what I know when somebody posts something, let's start running around. Let's value the facts. Let's look for the facts. Let's look for what the truth is. And there is nothing wrong in telling me, Steve, you were wrong. These are the facts. And let me be able to tell you, thank you for educating me, and let's move on. So that being said, thank you so much. I want to say thanks as always to you, you and your husband. I've been learning a lot from you since I came. You know, then he told me about how the DED started back then, how you were teaching me some of these things yesterday. I'm definitely going to do extensive research on it because I was very intrigued and very interested in some of the history that he provided to me. And some of, every time I come around, the things that he tell me, you know, it just kind of blow my mind. Oh, I'm like, okay. But he doesn't, if we were to tell you to come, he would not kind of yet to talk, or, you know, but the wealth of information, knowledge that he provides to me every time I come around, or when I talk to him on the phone, is a blessing. And I do appreciate it. Some of you might not know him. He will not come on the camera. I don't know what happened. But he will not come. I don't care what you do, but when you talk to him on the phone or you sit with him, too much knowledge, too much education. And sometimes, you know, I just like to come to Atlanta, Georgia, just to chill and learn something. Then when I go back there, I'll be firing again. They say, oh, well, so I leave for here, they blow air. I learned a lot of different things here. You know, this is home for me. You know, family here. I'm very excited. Thank you so much. Thanks for the GB. I got an email like GB. I thank you. I come in for GB, yeah, my people. So your thank you. Your thank you so much. Oh my God, Papa, them back. Your thank you. We'll be here. We're leaving Atlanta, Georgia tomorrow, but we are here for tonight. So Omar Edo.
Okay. So thank you, Steve, guys, again. This has been a conversation with Steve Bole, Moses, aka Moses. He's out. It was just really cool, even chilling, talking about Liberia. Um, I want to say to those of you who tune in, I'm sorry I saw that later on because we have planned this. There were a lot of people on this time. Some of you know me. I don't come on when other people are on. I used to come on in the morning, Saturday morning. Then everybody started coming on Saturday morning. Sunday afternoon, everybody started coming on. So today I just you can't keep scooting over. You have to continue the process. And I'm building a new platform. So this is not it. I'm waiting for some promo, and then we will come back live. So I'm gonna use Facebook until then. You know the normal Facebook that we've done, but starting next month, early next month, we're gonna have different schedules that people will be, and we will be airing. You all know, for a year or so, we were airing in Liberia, certain part of Liberia, Nimba, Lofa, and those places. We will return to those things. Um, I want to say to you, the young people, I think I brought this to Rosa Park last year. Young people, and I said this to the Black Lives Matter when they protested last year here. My video is out there. And I spoke on behalf of my community and the young people. What I said to them is organize, strategize, and act. This is your future. Look at those who are fighting for you. Look at their children. Ask them question, how did they get to how they got to? If they didn't earn it, if they don't understand the dignity of labor and honesty, look away. Leaders are supposed to be people, not forcing people, but they influence. They're supposed to inspire people and make you see beyond the now, to make you hope for a better future and a better you. And if your leader will not be a role model to your children, if your children, you will not feel safe, or your children will not feel safe with them, they are not leaders. We've done this too long. Some of us are survivors and victims of the leaders or the rulers that our parents have chosen, we must be different. Liberians have to do it differently. Young people, this is your life. This is your future. Stand up, demand it. Don't be quick to take shortcut. Don't be quick to get frustrated and say, oh, the people who are supposed to be doing it, no, they're not Jesus Christ. Neither are they Muhammad. They're not here as Savior. You have a responsibility to hold them accountable and hold them responsible. I want to say to you, thank you. And a few young people in Liberia are doing their own. Takuma King is being beaten, put in jail, denied food. Emmanuel Gwonkwe, Daniel Glidden, young lady like Olive, Rosa. And they make the case without insulting people. They make the case without being demeaning, condescending. They make their case without using profanity. They make their case with balance and with a balanced approach and a people center. That's the Liberia I want to build. The Liberia I want to see is the Liberia that I can disagree with you. Now, let me say this to all of you. Like those who say, oh, the man is this, the man is that. Why did he join them? You don't divorce your parents because they're bad. You don't divorce your parents because they're killers. You don't divorce your siblings, your brothers, because they choose otherwise or they've been to jail. You shine brighter. You give them hope. You show them other means how to navigate and let them see you to change. We are brothers and sisters, whether we like it or not. We are like ears and nose and eyes. If one gets beaten, the other will feel it. So yes, let's join CCP. Yes. 2019, January 10th, a talk show host said, my prayer is for all four parties or even more to come together so we can get out of this nightmare. I will not support an individual political party, although there's so much on saying some people cannot be trusted. The people of the now. We must be consistent. We must be risk taker. What stands between Liberia and the better Liberia that we're deserving of is fear. On the other side of fear is hope. On the other side of fear is progress. On the other side of fear is nation builders and patriots or patriotism. It's new schools, better jobs, better life, justice, and accountability. Let me say thank you for Steve for being here. Thank you for watching. Or let me say good night to all of you. Again, it has been a pleasure talking to Steve Bole, Mose, and I am again Yasini Martin Peye. I've been here since 2017 talking to you, and I'm still here from the studio 2017, 2016, 2015, and it's 2021. Literally 7 years later, I'm still here, consistent. My quest is my quest. My quest is to see Liberia in the possible best hands than what my parents turned out to me. This has been another episode of Second Thought, a special edition. Second Thought Africa. Yasini Martin Peye. Thank you for watching. God bless. We'll be doing some big things this year.